Well, yesterday marked the day the SNP's Authoritarian Hate Crime Act came into full effect, and as Anne Widdecombe pointed out in my stead, an SNP minister said it was possible Police Scotland could investigate J.K. Rowling for her gender-critical views. Indeed, the Harry Potter author dared Police Scotland to come after her, with the Prime Minister backing her in comments made last night. Earlier today, Police Scotland clarified she would not, in fact, be arrested under the new law. But I'm fascinated by the question of what would happen if a broadcast made here from State of the Nation in England, which was legal in England, but broke this new law as it was broadcast in Scotland, would Police Scotland break through Hadrian's Wall and come and arrest me or the executives of GB News? There must be all sorts of situations like this that could unfold, and surely it shows that laws like this should be reserved for Westminster. Well, with me now is Thomas Leonard Ross, KC, criminal defence barrister. Thank you very much for joining me. Sarah Phillimore, who is a fellow barrister, has said that this law could be extraterritorial, so a tweet from England, a broadcast from England, could be caught by the Scottish law. Isn't that quite problematic?
Well, theoretically, I think she's right. I mean, I think the question would be where the effect of the tweet or communication was likely to take place. And if it could be argued that it would have the effect of stirring up racial hatred or hatred against one of the protected categories in Scotland, then theoretically, jurisdiction would rest in Scotland.
And that's quite interesting, because the big change really from existing law across the United Kingdom is in relation to gender and whether you have to accept people's gender as they determine it, or you can say it's their biological gender, which J.K. Rowling did last night. Now, if that is legal in England but illegal in Scotland, and you make a broadcast about somebody in Scotland, possibly a rapist in Scotland who says he's a woman, you could be nabbed by the Scottish police.
You could be. I mean, there is a defence in terms of the Act to which you could establish that your behaviour was reasonable. And I did wonder whether it would amount to a reasonable explanation that you believed that as you were in England, you believed that the conduct was legal in England. But that would be arguable. I mean, there are so many aspects of this Act which are so very difficult to understand. It's quite impossible to give you a concrete answer on it.
And how far do you think it diverges from existing law in the UK? Is it as big a change as it's been written up as being, or is it simply a natural evolution of hate laws that already exist?
I don't think it is as big a change as people make out. I mean, quite a large part of it was consolidating a variety of acts under which hate crime laws could be found. And already we've had the offence of stirring up racial hatred since 1965 with the Race Relations Act. So essentially they've taken the stirring up racial hatred offence and extended it to a number of protected categories. But it does seem to be quite a high test. I mean, it's not just enough to be offensive. It has to be stirring up hatred against a particular group.
And if we look at this issue around gender, it's about how people identify, isn't it? So with race, it's relatively straightforward. Nobody's saying that if you identify as being non-white, everyone has to accept that you're non-white. Your race is the race that you have. That is, to an extent, tangible. Whereas with gender, people can decide to have a different gender.
Yeah, I mean, it is problematic. I mean, it was already an aggravation. So if you committed a breach of the peace, for example, 2 years ago, and it was aggravated by transgender issues, then it was something which could result in a higher sentence. So it's not completely new in Scotland, but it is new for it to be a stirring up offence. Undoubtedly, it will be the issue. It will be the protected category which is likely to give rise to most trouble. I think everybody predicts that, and already 24 hours in, we've seen a complaint about J.K. Rowling, which I think everybody in the UK predicted.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Thomas. Now over to my panel, another lawyer, barrister and former